Right, hello. It's been a while since I've done a video, and that's sort of because I was working on the player beams, and sort of because I just didn't really feel like doing videos until I had them all done. So I got them all done, and I also got the ability to swap between your different beams and their various augmentations. So the first thing I want to talk about is each beam, and there's 4 beams. Each beam has a major augmentation that you can equip to it and a minor augmentation. And I'll just roll through those quickly right now. So for the major augmentations, we have the prism augmentation, the rapid fire, we have a mega charge, and we have a shotgun. So the prism, what it does is it allows you to shoot, instead of one big blast, you shoot a bunch of tiny ones, and they kind of weave in and out. And that depends on what beam you have equipped. So I'll show you the prism beam for all the different beam types. So on the basic beam, it's just the weave. On the nature beam, you have to shoot a projectile and it will go so far and then explode. Right now the damage on it's kind of broken. Also, when things explode, they all explode at the same time, so the sound is kind of deafening, and I apologize for that. I need to fix that. So yeah, basically the trick with this thing is that it's supposed to be difficult to shoot it the right amount of space between you and the enemy, and that's sort of where the balance is. Right now the damage is still too high, but I'll be able to tweak that. So for the light, actually I guess we have gravity next. Gravity is similar to the initial normal beam. It's just slower and does more damage, but they still weave in and out of each other. And then for the light beam is similar to the nature beam, where you have to shoot it so far before it sort of splits. So if you just shoot it close to you, it doesn't split at all, and if you shoot it at something far away, it'll split into a couple of beams. So the trade-off here is you can't hurt things close to you, but things far away will take more damage. So if you're trying to use your light beam as a sort of long-range fighting type deal, that would be what you would want to equip to it. And it does more damage than the base light beam does. So I'll take you through the next augmentation. And the next one's pretty simple. It's just rapid fire. So for basically all the beams, this is pretty similar. Again, the gravity and the basic beam are both pretty generic projectile, so they just make it shoot rapidly. As you can see here, it just kind of shoots like a hose, sort of. On the nature gun, however, it acts more like the Needler from Halo. So putting 1 into a guy doesn't really do any damage, but if you put 10, they'll explode at once in a deafeningly loud sound and do a lot of damage. The light one works sort of like the Void Ray from StarCraft 2, I guess. The longer you hold it on something, it grows and does more damage over time. And then it will slowly decrease while it's not being held on stuff. So those are the rapid fire. The mega charge, basically the same for all of them. It just allows you to hold it in longer, and with that you'll get a larger projectile and more damage. The only difference is for the nature gun, it actually has a spreading mechanic as well. So if you charge it up enough, this will probably kill all the dummies I have remaining, but we'll go for it anyway. Once it goes into something, it has a chance to spread, and then those subsequent ones have a 50% chance to go to an additional enemy once they pop. So that would be very effective against large groups of enemies, but it requires you to charge it most of the way, or almost all the way up, in order for the spreading mechanic to work. And finally, we have the shotgun, which is what it sounds like, more or less. Instead of getting a large beam, you get a bunch of small beams that, again, do more damage, but require you to be pretty close to what you're trying to hit. The shotgun, similar to the rapid fire on the nature gun, actually works, again, like a Needler, where you have to hit like 10 or so projectiles into a guy before they actually do damage. You can still open doors with the initial little shots, but they don't really do much to enemies. And then on all the other beams, it's more or less the same. So those are the major augmentations. And beyond that, we have the minor augmentations. So the category here, or the categorization, I guess, more or less, is that the major augmentations sort of change how the beam itself functions, whereas the minor just kind of change how the on-hit effect works, more or less. So there's a bouncing augmentation, which just causes your projectiles to bounce once before they explode. There's a fire augmentation, which when it hits something, has a chance to ignite enemies, which will do damage over time. Right now I have that set to 100% just for the sake of showing them off. There's a chill augmentation, which will slow enemies down, and this actually works better if you see it overrun an enemy that actually moves. So over here, you can see he slows down, he can't really jump as much, changes color. And then the last one is just a critical hit chance, so you have a chance to do double damage when you shoot something. And that's basically it for all the different beams. So each different beam can have both a major and a minor augmentation applied to it. So it'll be up to players more or less to determine what combinations they want to work with. Do they want the gravity shotgun so you do a lot of damage close range? Do they want the light beam to be the long range weapon? Do they want to use the spreading mechanic or the other mechanics of the nature beam? They want to have the basic beam just on rapid fire for dealing with enemies quickly as they run and gun. There's a lot of different ways to play it, and it's going to be up to the person. Because you only have 4 beams, it's up to them to configure the weapons to their playstyle. Yep, that's basically it. The only other thing I have to show off, I guess, is nothing, because apparently I can't left click. So, that's neat. Well, that's basically the end of it anyway. Thanks for watching.